This season, let your shoes do the talking. Designer Shoe Warehouse is packed with fresh styles that speak to your whole vibe without saying a word. From cool sneakers that look good with everything, to easy sandals you'll want to wear on repeat, DSW has you covered. Find a shoe for every you, from the brands you love, like Birkenstock, Nike, Adidas, New Balance, and more. Head to your DSW store or visit dsw.com today.
Parents, welcome back to one of the busiest times of the year, back to school, but you can make it a whole lot easier with Uber Eats. Right now, you can get up to 40% off back-to-school essentials. Everything from notebooks, colored pencils, calculators, and glue sticks to lunchbox favorites like string cheese, juice boxes, fresh fruit, and Lunchables. No need to juggle one more errand. Just open the Uber Eats app and get everything you need delivered fast. That's school supply shopping simplified. Offer ends September 16th. Terms apply. See app for details. Order now on Uber Eats.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Hi, welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. Hope that you're having a great start to your week. I want to remind you that this Monday premiered the doc-series Apartment 603, What Happened to Ellen Greenberg. That is an absolute must-watch. You should also make note to listen to the episode that I did on Friday, which is episode 1414. I interviewed the producer. So an absolute must-watch doc-series and an absolute must-listen-to episode. So it's called Apartment 603, What Happened to Ellen Greenberg. It's on Hulu. And then the episode you want to listen to as well is episode 1414. I interviewed the producer, Nancy Schwartzman. So make sure you go back and listen to that. So in this episode, I was thrilled to have a great chat with my old friend, Rob Cesternino, about this season of Survivor. So if you haven't watched the show before, it was adapted from the Swedish show Expedition Robinson. And here's the basic premise. It's a group of contestants that are sent to a remote location. In this case, it's Fiji. And they have to provide for themselves and compete in challenges. And these challenges include physical endurance, problem solving, teamwork, and mental skill. The contestants are eliminated one by votes at tribal council until a few remain. And then the eliminated contestants, the jury, then votes for which of the contestants should be the winner, who becomes the sole survivor and then wins a grand prize. And then, of course, there are various twists to the show. Hidden immunity idols, hidden advantages, tribe swaps to shake up the strategy. The show first aired in 2000, and as of 2025, there have been 49 seasons. The 50th season, which is the next season, is going to be most fun because you're going to see a lot of the old previous contestants trying again. So we are now in season 49, and I loved watching the premiere episode, and I thought I have to have Rob back on the show because he really is the go-to expert. He was a previous contestant on Survivor the Amazon in 2003. And in that game, he played a flexible, strategic approach, flipping alliances when useful while maintaining relationships. He finished 3rd out of 16 in that season. And then he returned for Survivor All-Stars in 2004. And in that season, he was perceived as a strategic threat and was eliminated relatively early, placing 15th. But over the years, he's been called by Survivor host Jeff Probst as the smartest player to never win, and was inducted into the Survivor Hall of Fame in 2012, along with other Survivor notables. Since 2010, he's had Rob as a podcast, and it covers and analyzes reality competition shows, especially Survivor. So it's been so much fun over the years to get to know him. He is such a great buddy and so funny, as you will hear. And to my great surprise, as you will hear in the beginning of the episode, we were talking off camera. I said, Rob, you really should be on the Traitors. He's like, hey, ding dong, I am on the next season. I was like, wait, what? So this coming January, when you watch the Traitors, the next season on Peacock, you'll see Rob as well. So a most fun episode because we talk about strategy, reality shows, such a great time. And I'm so thrilled that I'm sending this to you on a Tuesday in whatever circumstances you have today. I think this is going to be such a bright spot and give you a couple good laughs. So here is my interview with my old buddy, Rob. First thing I have to say is not only have I known you for so long, and remember back in the clubhouse days, I would get into your little clubhouse rooms and you would make me laugh so hard. You would yell at the people in your clubhouse room. Like you knew everything about them.
Do people remember what Clubhouse is?
No. 3 people. The clubhouse culture to me still makes me laugh. The people that would show up for these big groups and they would say something like, "Hi, my name's Mary. I am a recovering addict. I have OCD. I was kidnapped as a child. I struggle in social situations and I'm a life coach." And I'm like, what? It was like bonkers people. Am I wrong?
And people felt like, okay, this is it. We're on Clubhouse now, and I have 400,000 Clubhouse followers, and I've made it.
I made it. Yep.
I have stock options in Clubhouse. I'm huge.
And then it all fell apart.
Like instantly.
Donna Bowling and I are always like, why has someone not made a Clubhouse documentary? I thought it was like the wackiest thing, but it was COVID and people were desperate to talk to each other.
Yeah, it was like peak lockdown, COVID. It was maybe a little after peak lockdown, but yeah, people are just like, hey, I'm just going to be in these chat rooms and talk to people all day long.
But you would like literally yell at people. You'd be like, Mike, what are you doing? Like, aren't you supposed to be at baseball?
I love it.
So funny.
I loved, anything like that. I like to do like Instagram Live and, anything like that is fun. But, it was really, you just got to meet. It was like a reality show that you got to just meet like random people and see what they're doing.
Yes. Okay, so at the top of this interview, before we started recording, I said to you, you know what? You should be on Traitors. And what did you say?
I said, no, I am.
And what did I say?
And you're like, yeah, all right, seriously.
You're like, no, I am on the next season. I'm like, shut up. No, you're not.
Like, what season? That didn't happen.
But you are. You're on the next season of Traitors.
Yes, it hasn't aired yet. Season 4 of the Traitors coming to Peacock in 2026.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What do you think makes you such a good game show person? Like if you're to look back at yourself as a young person, like what is the skill that you go, that should have been a red flag for everyone in my life that I would be so good at this stuff?
I just really wanted to do it. And I don't know, I feel like I love to play the game and I'm having fun when I go and do one of these shows. And so I feel like if you're having fun and then the audience is having fun, I love to maybe like yourself a little bit, like talk some shit about people.
You're a shit talker for sure. Yes.
Yeah. And so that's
high social game.
That's all fun. And when I played Survivor, the people that play Survivor are like very smart about it right now. When I played Survivor, people didn't really even know the rules. So I had a big advantage over people because I loved the show so much.
So if you think about Survivor and Big Brother too, like for each of those shows, maybe even for Traitors as well, like what is the one skill set that's most helpful in each of those shows?
I think that people are under the impression now it's like a lot of knowledge. You got to have a lot of, I got to know how every single thing knows. And people like overlearn the game stuff. But I think that at the end of the day, it's likability, I think, is the most important thing that you could have. Likability and then also the ability to make people feel comfortable and non-threatened by you.
Do you have to downplay whatever your vocation is? Because like in this season, for example, you have a rocket scientist and then you also have like a film producer. But I noticed that they kind of soften, if you will, what that job is. Is it because people start running through the mathematics in their head? Like this person thinks this way.
Yeah.
I can't trust them.
So deep in their own head of no matter what they do, of like, well, I'm a podcaster, but I can't let people know I'm a podcaster because then they'll know I'm good at talking to people. So I have to say I'm a mailman, you know. And everybody is just so far, like nobody actually says what they do. Like there's like maybe a couple of threatening jobs where if you say I'm a cop, people are like very skittish about that. But every single person on reality TV who says they're a lawyer actually goes, well, I'm actually like an assistant clerk to the, and it's too much. Like nobody actually cares that much, but everybody like is overthinking everything.
Yeah. So let's say you're playing the game and you start talking to somebody and you find out they're like 3 times divorced and their kids no longer speak to them. Are you like, okay, well, now I know everything I need to know about not having an alliance with you?
There's not been a lot of people that fit that profile on the shows, but I don't know. I feel like that people just like, okay, that's whatever. And they don't really take anything at face value. They just, forget that stuff so easily.
Yeah. I told you one of my game strategies, and you tell me if this is diabolical. We were talking about when you know things about other contestants, and obviously I'm the kind of person who would find out everything about you. So I said, if I know a parent or there's someone who just had a child, like maybe a year and under, I would talk about that child all the time and what it was like for me to have someone or a child under a certain age to try to remind them how much they miss their child so they leave the show.
Yeah.
Am I a horrible person?
No, I think you're, a strategic mastermind. I think we've seen like people like, I think Raven Simone left the first Celebrity Big Brother because she missed her baby. But I don't know, there's that many people that would leave a show to go do it. I think they're already kind of like pot committed at that point.
So if I was like, I've just been thinking about what you said about, your dad and how sick they are. That must be really hard for you to be away from him right now. Like that's what I would do.
Are you worried that you'd be hated?
No. I wouldn't be hated. Everyone would love me because I would ask them questions about themselves, and then I would know the right beat of like building someone up, but then also. And I have to tell you, you know why? Because I have 5 kids. So I kind of like already know how to play certain games because the kids are trying to outplay you all the time.
Yeah.
I think parenting is a constant reality show, game show, because you're out trying to outplay each other the whole time.
But are you worried you would get dragged on Instagram? People would not receive well what you're doing?
No, because then I would win and then I would talk about strategy and then it would come back around. And also, I would talk about how much I missed my kids. And then the viewing public would go, oh, let's throw her a bone. The girl needed a vacation. Like she needed to get away from her family.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen, so who cares? But this is what plays through in my mind. And I support and I salute you because you've been able to finesse so many different shows.
I mean,
it's kind of amazing. Do you ever think that you and your wife could be on Real Housewives?
I don't think so. I mean, my wife is not a public figure, so I don't know. I mean, but I guess a lot of these like NBA wives are not necessarily public figures before they do the shows. So I don't know if they do Real Housewives of Raleigh.
I love Raleigh.
Not that exciting.
It's so pretty there.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a true crime doc and it was set in Raleigh. And I did think to myself, maybe I should go look at Zillow listings. It's pretty there.
It is very nice here. We've been here for 4 years after being on the West Coast in LA for 15 years. So we are very happy here. But I don't think my wife is that excited to do a reality show.
So when you meet normies and they find out what you do and your history, do they like to tell you how much they should be on a reality show?
No, it's either people care deeply about this stuff or they don't care at all. I mean, you're very much a person with an interesting vocation. I mean, what's it like when you are talking to normies?
They don't care.
Yeah. Most people don't care.
No, not at all. We were the early settlers. We were in the covered wagons of podcasting. So we've certainly seen things come and go. But you've also really been there from the beginning of Survivor. So what would you say are some of the ways the show has stayed the same and has obviously changed? It's
really so different now, especially because then they really talk about it's the new era. Since it came back from COVID, the show kind of like reinvented itself in a way where there's, there are good things, but mostly most fans, I think, would say they miss how it used to be on Survivor. And there's all sorts of reasons why they decided to go in a different direction. So I think that at its heart, you still have these people who come together. You like to meet these characters. You still get every now and then like a glimmer of the thing that you fell in love with Survivor, where there's a big blind side. There's a character that really transcends the show. And so in that way, it's still Survivor, but it just definitely feels like a different experience than what it was when it first came on.
And now, a next-level moment from AT&T Business. Say you've sent out a gigantic shipment of pillows, and they need to be there in time for International Sleep Day. You've got AT&T 5G, so you're fully confident. But the vendor isn't responding, and International Sleep Day is tomorrow. Luckily, AT&T 5G lets you deal with any issues with ease, so the pillows will get delivered and everyone can sleep soundly, especially you. AT&T 5G requires a compatible plan and device. Coverage not available everywhere. Learn more at att.com/5G network.
In November 1974, IRA bombs ripped through 2 Birmingham pubs, killing 21 innocent people. Hundreds more were injured. It was the worst attack on British soil since the Second World War.
When a crime this appalling and shocking happens, you want the police to act quickly. And boy, did they. The very next day, they had 6 men in custody. Confessions followed, and the men were sent down for life.
Good riddance, you might think, except those men were innocent. Join me, Matt Ford.
And me, Alice Levine.
For the latest series of British Scandal, all about the Birmingham Six.
It's the story of how a terrible tragedy morphed into a travesty of justice, and how one man couldn't rest until he'd exposed the truth.
Follow British Scandal now wherever you listen to podcasts, and binge entire series early and ad-free on Wondery+.
Do you have contestants now that show up with a whole media strategy? Like they've studied the show and they have developed the archetype and they're going to play it out. They're committed to the bit.
Well, when Survivor first started, they were finding people who were designed to be sort of like polarizing characters and maybe, people that you might not see traditionally on television. Now everybody's very polished who shows up on Survivor. The 18 people that they pick out, they are all Survivor super fans. Like almost every single person who plays on Survivor. I said before, the people that I played with on Survivor barely knew what they were getting into. The people who play now have all seen 25 plus seasons of the show. And it's almost like a requirement for you to be on Survivor to be a Survivor super fan who's going to go play Survivor.
Do you find that people who watch the show each season get frustrated because it's not inventive enough? If you have people, everyone who's participating is a super fan. You have super fans that watch the show. And it's the same location. How do you make it different season to season?
They really don't invest a lot in trying to make it different season after season. It's like, hey, you love Survivor. This is what Survivor is, and we're going to keep running it back. And this season is season 49. The next season is Survivor 50. And so for the last couple of years, Survivor has really been talking a lot about what they're doing for Survivor 50. And so they have a big season where they're going to bring back a bunch of returning players, and everybody's very excited about season 50. I think it was a misstep to not do something a little more exotic for Survivor 49. Because not only is it overshadowed by Survivor 50,
I feel like no one cares.
It's also like very cookie cutter for everything else that they've done in the 40s of Survivor.
I'm already thinking about season 50 and Mike White.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
back.
Also, I read that they always have alternatives on the side.
Yeah.
And so some of the cast members this season have been alternatives.
So some of the players that are in this season have been alternates. They've already been to Fiji, but there was a big thing that happened in the pregame for this season. People were like talking and passing notes. And so they pulled two of the people that were going to be on the show and they plugged in the alternates at the last second. And so there are 2 people who weren't even supposed to play in this season who are now in this season. And then there's also a couple of women who were alternates for previous seasons who are playing. But it's not part of the theme. It's just how it worked out.
And then apparently 2 of the people that are on this current season, we're going to see them on season 50?
Yes. This came out in May or maybe it's the beginning of June when they announced the cast of Survivor 50. And there were a lot of second guessing in the first guessing of the cast for Survivor 50. They took 24 people for Survivor 50.
Okay.
You know Mike White. Who else do you know that's going to be on Survivor 50?
That's it. That's all I know. But that's all I care about. I mean, I would watch. I'm going to watch just for him. I think he's so great.
Yeah.
Who else do we know that is a part of?
Sari is going to be on Survivor 50.
Okay,
Coach
she's
is going to be
great.
on Survivor 50.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of who else that you would
How old is
know.
Coach?
I think he's in his mid 50s.
Okay.
Do you remember Christian Hubicki?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yep.
He's going to be on. More than anything, I just hope for it to be a good season.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. So, logistical question. In the beginning of the episode of the first episode of the season, when they're all kind of standing on the beach and Jeff calls them out so that they can introduce themselves, we'll be like, guy in the middle, come forward. I mean, he has working knowledge of all these people. Why does he do that? Why doesn't he just say, Harry, step forward?
Yeah, he knows who they all are because then the challenge is going to start and he's like, all right, Jason, MC. Like he knows everybody's name. I really don't know why they go through the charade of like, all right, girl in the blue.
Exactly.
What's your deal? I don't know if they're like letting people be able to lie about what they. First of all, if somebody came in and they knew you as Bobby, and you say that now your name is Jimmy, or you say you have some nickname or anything, their heads would explode. They would be so mad at you for like. But I don't know why they just let people, because the players don't know who they are. I don't know why Jeff has to also pretend. I've never heard a good explanation for that.
Okay, the other thing I wondered was, I get the impression that it's sort of like The Price is Right, where they tell the contestants, The Price is Right.
Said,
like, you have to lose your mind. Yeah. Because if they're like, lady with the skirt, introduce yourself, I'm not going to be like, I'm Kate.
Come on down.
I'm just not. Like, that's not my personality. I'm like, listen, I've got 5 kids at home. Happy to be here. I need to wear a lot of SPF. Like, I'm going to just be dry. Do they need you to amplify everything for TV?
Yeah, I think that is what they want. They really want people to feel the excitement that you're on Survivor. I think they want the people at home to be excited. Okay, we're watching people get there to Survivor. They don't want to see people like, hey, this is a business trip. We're ready to go.
Okay.
But Jeff actually clapped back at somebody. He's like, I think it was Steven in this first, and on the mat, he asked him a question. He's like, no, that's a Price is Right answer.
Oh, okay, good.
But the contestants are giving like Price is Right energy.
Yeah, but I guess because some of them are like, I have watched every single episode of this show since the beginning of time, and I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah.
But I just can't imagine 18 people all at that same energy level existing in one space. That would be a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, tell the good people who don't typically watch the show, what's going on with the crew? Are they going back to a hotel? Are they smoking cigarettes on the patio? They're swilling some rum? What's happening?
So Survivor is set up in Fiji and they have like really good accommodations for everybody. Survivor used to go all around the world and have to figure out like, where's the crew going to stay for each different place. And so now I think, I've never been there, but I think that the crew has like hotel accommodations and everything. So they take really good care of the crew. It's a massive operation. I think they have like 300, 400 people that are involved with the production, from all the people that come from America to like Fijian locals who work on the production. So they really do have it all like a well-oiled machine for how they do the operation.
The prop box alone must be crazy with all those challenges that they set up in the puzzles.
Sure, they probably have a whole warehouse. But in terms of like, are the camera people like smoking cigarettes or like doing anything like that? I could tell you from when I played that you could tell when the camera crew was like on a bender like the night before, because when you're on Survivor, your senses are so heightened that you like your sense of smell, because you haven't eaten also, is like, so you could tell like, all right, this guy has been drinking, like reeks of beer. this person, you could tell like what they had for lunch, and they don't eat in front of you. That's one of the rules that they've always had, but you can tell like what they've been up to.
Wow. Do you end up keeping in touch with people after you leave that work behind the scenes? Because I know that a lot of people that are other contestants, and people tend to get bonded to them and keep in touch. But what about the crew? Or is it you're not allowed access to them at all?
No, you don't really get access to them. I think in the early days, it was like a novel thing for the people that worked on the show, and they would keep in touch with the contestants. But now I kind of feel like that for a lot of the crew people, they've seen so many people come in and out of Fiji. It's just another day at the office. Unless you're like one of the big characters on the show, I think that they kind of like, you end up being a little bit more forgettable.
Do you think that behind the scenes are like, oh, this guy thinks he's going to win the show and he's wrong?
I think probably a little bit. It's probably really fun in the real time because you're watching it all play out. You don't know what's going to happen. It's a little bit like being at like a live sporting event to see like, okay, there's 7 people. One of them is going to go home tonight. So it's probably pretty fun for the people who are out there experiencing it.
You know what would be great? It's never going to happen. But if they had maybe a sports survivor to get some like the Eagles players with some golfers and just to see how all the different like people in sports strategize. And I don't know if that would be possible, but the budget for that would be quite high.
Yeah, they've had a lot of former athletes who come in and play. Like, I can't imagine anybody who's like a pro athlete, like going to go play Survivor in their prime, because it does take such a toll.
No, like retired players.
Yeah. It'd be fun.
That would be fun. Okay, so watching the show so much, are there certain kind of vocations or personalities that stick out that tend to go towards the finals? And conversely, are there people that tend not to do well and get kicked out?
I don't know if it's like one particular job type that, doesn't do so great. It's hard because the game like swings back and forth. So if somebody has a particular personality type that does well, then the next time people see that personality type, then they say, oh, I'm coming for you. Like, for instance, that there were a couple of people who were hairdressers that actually won the show. And now if somebody was to come on Survivor and they were a hairdresser, they'd have to lie and say, they can't say that they're a hairdresser because the players are so tapped in, especially, and there's so much recency bias to what they just saw that they're going to swing back around like, oh, okay. Oh, that person reminds me of that person who won. So it is a little bit of a pendulum in terms of like what does well and what doesn't. Back in the old days, I think that Survivor used to have like a little bit more fun, like making fun of the contestants. Now the show works really hard. And you could say it's a good thing or a bad thing that they really work hard. They want everybody to look good. They don't want to clown on anybody. But I do think that it's better for the players, but I think it's a little bit worse for the viewers. I think that we can handle it. Like, I think it's a little bit more in the new era of Survivor. It's a celebration of the people who come out to play. But I also, like, we want to be entertained a little bit. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, I'm Denise Chan, host of Scam Factory. You might remember hearing about our investigative series that exposed what's really happening behind those suspicious texts you get. Inside heavily guarded compounds across Asia, thousands are trapped and forced to scam others or risk torture. One of our most powerful stories was Jella's, a young woman who thought she'd found her dream job, only to end up imprisoned in a scam compound. Her escape story caught the attention of Criminal's Phoebe Judge, and I'm honored to share more details of Jella's journey with their audience. But Jella's story is just one piece of this investigation. In Scam Factory, we reveal how a billion-dollar criminal empire turns job seekers into prisoners, and how the only way out is to scam your way out. Ready to uncover the full story? Binge all episodes of Scam Factory now. Listen to Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts.
On Boxing Day 2018, 20-year-old Joy Morgan was last seen at her church, Israel United in Christ, or IUIC.
I just went on my Snapchat and I just see her face plastered everywhere.
This is the missing sister, the true story of a woman betrayed by those she trusted most.
IUIC is my family and like the best family that I've ever had.
But IUIC isn't like most churches.
This is a devilish cult.
You know when you get that feeling where I don't want to be here. I want to get out. It's like that feeling of, like, I want to go home now.
I'm Charlie Brinkhurst-Cuff, and after years of investigating Joy's case, I need to know what really happened to Joy. Binge all episodes of The Missing Sister exclusively and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus. Start your free trial of Wondery Plus on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or in the Wondery app.
Let me ask you a couple questions about this season.
Yes.
When you look at the cast this season, is there anyone that immediately stands out to you as this is someone built for the game?
You know, a lot of people have been very impressed with Savannah, who is a woman we're actually going to get a lot of her in the next year. She seems like somebody who, she's been reminding people of like a Parvati, where she has the charm, where she is the type of person that people are going to want to get close to, but she also has that ability to potentially manipulate people. And so she seems like somebody who's really good. It's hard to say. I like this guy, Alex, who is the guy who works in DC. He's the political comms director and works for a congresswoman. So I think he's somebody else who has that political savvy and likability to be able to do well in the game.
What are some of the blunders that contestants make that you just think to yourself, boy, did you just screw that up?
People who are just trying to do too much early on, especially they try to go look for the idol. There's so many idols and advantages that they have on Survivor. I think a real key to the game is making everybody feel very comfortable with you. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. Sometimes people make people feel comfortable because they make other people feel like that they're not as smart as they might actually be. So they're like, okay, I'm not worried about this person. They're not a threat. But anybody who is like going off and running off into the jungle, looking for things, they're like, why are they doing that? They're making me feel very unsafe. That's the thing that tends to get people voted out early. Was there anybody that stood out to you, Kate?
I immediately like the film producer because I
Nate.
I thought he's gonna peel back the layer a little bit and talk more about work. Like he's playing the game well, where he's kind of quiet in the beginning, and then he's going to butter up to people and then talk about his job. But I just feel like filmmakers, again, like obviously they're great storytellers, but they pay attention to everyone's little picadillos. And I think that could make for someone being a really good strategy player. Just find people who work in creative spaces, pay attention to things that other people in corporate America do not.
Do you find it surprising when somebody who's like super successful in like a job like Nate, where he's a film producer, wants to go play on Survivor?
No, because I think that actually the job of making films, I have a cousin that's an art director on films, and it can get kind of monotonous. I mean, you do a lot of pre-production work, but then as you go into the producing, it can be monotonous. So I think it would be it would be exciting, the idea of like going somewhere and maybe fueling some new creative inspiration. So yeah, I'm more surprised when people have like a corporate job and they can take the time off and go.
Did you see a year ago that John Lovett from Pod Save America was on Survivor?
Yeah.
I think he did very badly. He was the first person that got voted out.
Well,
he seemed like he was doing okay, but he was just on a tribe where it was a lot of younger people, and I think he got a little unlucky.
Maybe people play too much in their head, though, that they're really good at what they do for a living, but they can't really finesse other situations.
Yeah. Maybe.
I think a lot of times people don't realize that about themselves until they actually get out of their own space and have to go on a show like that. I feel like you have to be really good on your feet. And that's surprisingly not something that a lot of people can do.
Especially when you have success in your like normal vocation, because people will treat you differently and you have like a little bit more leeway to be able to get away with things because it's the boss, people aren't going to call you out on stuff. Whereas then now if people, especially when you lie about what you do and people don't give you that same, like aren't treating you like a bigger deal, then it can end up going sideways.
Also, if you have anything that you are lying about, you have to be committed to the lie. And being committed to that lie means you're spending an inordinate amount of time processing. And when you're processing, you can't be working on the fly. And then you don't pick up on red flags, signs that would allow you to see that somebody is sabotaging you.
Yeah. And that's a really good observation because also on Survivor, you are not eating. And so lying burns calories. So now you are using like mental processing power to think about your lies. And then it's also hurting you in other areas.
Sleep deprivation, all of that.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a guy who had been in the military and I asked, are honeypots real? This idea that...
Like in spies?
Yes. Like, is it real? And he gave me this example that you go away for 2 weeks and you go through these physical exercises and you have sleep deprivation and you've been hungry. And then they take them to Las Vegas and they give them like a task list. And they send him to a bar. And this one guy goes to a bar. And again, he's hungry, sleep deprived. He's been through 2 weeks of this. And he starts talking to a woman and she's, she's setting him up, flirting with them. And after, I don't know, half hour, he's like, oh, I'd love to get together with you. And says his real name, gives his real phone number. And they had to cut him loose. Like, you're done. 2 weeks. This is... people do crazy things when they have not had food or sleep.
Yeah.
It is kind of like one of the most interesting social experiments that everybody collectively commits to watching and studying. And it is really interesting how even after all of these seasons, people are clamoring to get on the show still. But there's such a fandom and there's such an appetite to be on the show. Whereas I see other reality shows that have been in this space for a long time that I see them struggling to get people interested to be participants. Of course, the time commitment is longer.
Yeah.
But Survivor sort of stands out to me that way. And it does feel like this really well-oiled machine.
It is exactly that they really have it to a science of how they want to do it. And I think that that's a good thing. But also I think that the viewers, feel a little bit of, we wish that it would be like a little bit different. They run it back the same way over and over and over again. They used to mix it up. They used to go to different locations. So if I'm going to have like a, small complaint about Survivor, we would love to see like a little bit more variance in how we run it. But the format is something that just resonates with people so well that there's this, we all have this desire to, fit in. We don't want to be voted out of the tribe. Everybody thinks about how they would do it if they were on the show. And so the format itself of the idea of like, okay, you leave your everyday life and you're transported to this tropical, beautiful location. So that there's no shortage of people who are dying to do this. And so many people that grew up with it, that it's a thing that they have really always wanted to do. So there's plenty of people who want to do it. I just think that there are ways that we could, ratchet up the conflict a little bit more to, give us a little bit more of like, instead of it being just another season of Survivor, here's a reason why this is appointment television to watch, because you got to see what we're going to do to them this time.
You're dropped into Survivor 49 as a contestant. How would you play the game as Rob in 2025 versus how you played all those years ago?
Yeah. So I played when I was 24 years old, and I was just like the guy who was, I had been in a fraternity and I was there to have a good time. It was a men versus women season, and I was talking about a lot of the women and who I would want to go on a date with and stuff like that.
You're 24.
And it was 2002. Okay.
Yeah.
This is
time.
You know, I'll get like DMs for people like, boy, I hope you've changed. It's like, yeah, it was 23. Joke's on you, buddy. You're watching a 23-year-old television show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a lot of stuff changed. So I would have to play it a little bit more of, especially if the players, and they're so smart that they know, hey, I'm the guy who podcasts about Survivor and reality TV all the time. I would hope that some of them would look at me as somebody that like, oh, okay, well, this could be my mentor in the game. And then I'll get rid of him. But I would really try to play up that like, hey, I'd be like more of a leader and somebody who I think was more of like a calming presence as opposed to somebody when I was 22 who was somebody who was just somebody who was there to like be the class clown.
You say that, but you would still be class clown. Like you
in
can't,
the confessionals, sure. And I would
I see. Okay.
Keep everybody like
true.
feeling
That's
good
true.
and laughing.
Because you need, that's so you though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you would just save it for good point. So you're going to like present yourself as the elder statesman, like a calming presence, but then you're going to go into the in the moment interviews and then talk some real shit.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's how I would
totally
play
salute
Survivor.
that.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm, you know what? I'm never going to be on the show, but I might adapt that if I am an imaginary cast member. Well done. Well played. I
you have to.
that.
I'm 20 years older than almost everybody else that I'd be playing with.
Right. Yeah. And then they're going to be like crying about whatever life circumstances they're in and you have to comfort them.
I miss my TikTok.
Right.
I know.
God, that must be so hard for you.
That's so valid.
That's so facts. Valid.
That's what I would say.
Mid. Tell everybody about where
There's
they can follow
a guy named
you.
Riz God. Yeah.
God help us. God help us. I'm excited to watch you on Traitors.
Yeah.
It's really trippy when I know the people that are on Traitors. Like when I watched Trishelle, I was like, this is too weird.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're excited for you. We're going to be rooting for you. Where can people follow you?
Yeah, you can check out everything I have going on. Look for RHAP wherever you listen to podcasts or on YouTube.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kate, thank you for having me back. And it's always great when we get to catch up.
Always great.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my great guest, Rob, and remind you to make sure that you not only subscribe to his podcast and click subscribe and write a 5-star review, but make sure that you are subscribed to this podcast as well. Make sure you join the Facebook group, Reality Life with Kate Casey. You can get my What to Watch list every week of what to watch in unscripted TV by going to katecasey.substack.com. Bonus episodes on Apple Podcast and on Patreon. Make sure you don't forget about those. And follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at KKCCA, TikTok, it's KKC, Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at KKC. Check back tomorrow for another really funny episode.
It's your man, Nick Cannon, and I'm here to bring you my new podcast, Nick Cannon at Night. I've heard y'all been needing some advice in the love department. So who better to help than yours truly? Nah, I'm serious. Every week, I'm bringing out some of my celebrity friends and the best experts in the business to answer your most intimate relationship questions. Having problems with your man? We got you. Catching feelings for your sneaky link? Let's make sure it's the real deal first. Ready to bring toys into the bedroom? Let's talk about it. Consider this a non-judgment zone to ask your questions when it comes to sex and modern dating in relationships, friendships, situationships, and everything in between. It's gonna be sexy, freaky, messy, and you know what? You'll just have to watch the show. So don't be shy. Join the conversation and head over to YouTube to watch Nick Cannon at Night or subscribe on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. Want to watch episodes early and ad-free? Join Wondery Plus right now.